Chairman, thank you for welcoming us into your home again. I was beginning to think I was never going to get to Abu Dhabi again. So thanks for the invite.
You're always welcome.
Before we go into the excitement of what's going to happen this summer, and I'm pretty sure we all think it's going to be very exciting, can we just have a look back at the last couple of seasons? It's fair to say it's been a mixed bag, especially last season and a little bit of the one before. What will Manuel's legacy be?
Well, let's be objective first. Over 3 years, we won our second Premier League title in the history of the club. We've won 2 League Cups under Manuel. We've gone to the semi-finals of the Champions League for the first time. We've scored, I think, an incredible amount of goals. At one point, I think in our first season, we scored 151 goals in total, which was a club record, I think a league record. So there's a lot of achievements that have been made in those 3 years that I think we all have to recognize Manuel and the team around him. And we should thank them and be grateful for these achievements. At the same time, I think we also can't hide the disappointment, particularly this year. We've had, I think all of us came with high expectations for this season. And I think at the end of the day, I cannot hide the disappointment of myself, obviously, Sheikh Mansour. I know the fans of the club, and I'm sure the entire team.
I mean, there were some glowing statistics there. On the other side of the coin, it would be fair to say there was an underperformance in the Premier League, 10 defeats. Couldn't beat any of the relegated sides away from home, or any of the top 5 home or away. That's kind of not in the grand plan.
Oh no, it's extremely disappointing. I think, again, you'll see me always jumping between being objective and obviously the emotional part, which we all have. We won the League Cup. We went all the way to the semi-finals in the Champions League, and it took us, unfortunately, to the last game of the season to achieve what I would categorize as the bare minimum acceptable. So, mixed bags. It's quite disappointing. I think our performances, particularly in the Premier League, have been inconsistent. I felt this year we just weren't ourselves. A lot of things weren't just clicking. Our home performances have been the worst in many years. I've normally, and we're used to it now, we're solid at home. We're tough to beat at home, and we don't lose too many games at home. And then particularly against the top 5, top 8 now with the quality that the Premier League is becoming, our record also was quite poor. I think this year we slightly went off track.
What were your highlights, individual highlights of players this season?
Well, you have the consistency of Joe Hart and Aguero, both competing respectively, Golden Glove and a Golden Boot, and both really going all the way to the last game of the season, very close on both respective levels. So both, I think, were standouts. No doubt, Kevin De Bruyne has been a revelation. We've invested a lot in bringing Kevin to the club, and he's proven that he's worth every penny. He is an incredible talent. He's shown it this year, and when he's been on the pitch, we've been a different team. There's been other players. Sanya, I would say Sanya this year, a lot of people were doubting him last season. He came in this season, I think played some very consistent football. He was a consistent defensive block for us. Fernandinho has had a wonderful season. I would say he's another standout performer for the team. These are just some of the players that really, I think, distinguished themselves this year.
And one outstanding performance in half an hour, Willy Caballero in the League Cup final.
Well, this one I give it to Willy for sure. He did the hard work, but also to Manuel. I remember very well the days before that game and the pressure on not playing Willie. But Manuel stuck to his principles, stuck to the commitment he made to Willie and the team, and it worked out extremely well. Willie did an incredible performance, and he won us the cup.
So we won the League Cup at Wembley on penalties and reached the Champions League semi-final, which is an achievement. Or we'll come to whether it's an achievement in a minute, I think. But we also went out the FA Cup in spectacular style at Chelsea. Was there any pressure on the manager to focus on the Champions League at the cost of the other competitions?
No. I mean, our priorities are crystal clear, and I think everybody knows it from, obviously from the guidance we have clearly from Sheikh Mansour, myself, the board, the management team, Manuel. We all knew, and we're all clear, and we continue to be clear. Our objective is to win the Premier League every year. That is our target, and to go as far as we can in the Champions League and try to win the Champions League. These two are equally important, and neither compromises the other or is at the cost of the other. And I think this year I would say we were pragmatic in the Champions League. We did very well, but I think, again, purely objectively, reaching the semi-final for the first time in the history of the club, of this modern version of the Champions League, is something that is, I think, an incredible achievement, and we approached it in a pragmatic way.
We've both used the word achievement in this interview so far, in terms of the Champions League.
Yeah.
A debate we have in the office amongst the City fans is, was it really an achievement to reach the Champions League semi-final, or was it just progress?
Probably a bit of both, I think, to be fair. Very few teams win the Champions League. I'm trying to think, I can't recall statistically how many teams won the Champions League the first time they made it to the semi-finals of the Champions League. I'm not sure about that. I think reaching the semi-final is progress, no question. Is it an achievement? Losing to Real Madrid at the Bernabeu, 1-0, losing both legs with a 1-goal difference in the semi-finals, I think is okay. But I think what makes it difficult, and I'll speak from my personal feeling here on this, is I don't think we actually showed up for that game. I really feel bad in that I think in both games, both legs, we left too much that we know we could have done that we didn't do. And that's what disappointed me. I don't mind losing the Champions League semi-final. I don't mind losing to Real Madrid. I think we're all pragmatic, and we understand football. You can win and you can lose. But you want to at least feel that you gave it 100%. And I don't think we gave it 100%. I think we lost, but we could have done a lot more. And I think we missed an important chance. It was an important opportunity to go to the final of the Champions League, and that I regret.
Leicester City winning the league, I think, was a shock to everyone in England. I think at one point, everyone, when they realised no one else was going to win the league, that everyone suddenly became happy about it. What can we learn from the way they won the league and their team? Anything?
I think, as a football fan, it's an incredible achievement, and it's something I'm delighted for Leicester, for their fans, for everybody involved in that club. It's an incredible achievement, and I think we can all really just hats off and commend them for an incredible, and really I think maybe it's the right time on behalf of everyone at Manchester City Football Club congratulate Leicester for this tremendous achievement. I take a lot from the passion they've shown. This was a team that, from the first game of the season till the last game of the season, one thing they gave it all, every game. You had a team that fought hard, that put a lot of passion, a lot of commitment, and you can see it in every game that they've played. And sometimes passion and commitment doesn't win you trophies, but certainly it pushes you to limits. And I think what Leicester did this year is, while they didn't have the resources of many other clubs in the Premier League, they had in abundance passion and commitment, and that won them the league.
And of course, next season they're going to be up against a Pep Guardiola-led Manchester City. How pleased are you that is coming. And is it the start of a new era? Because that's how it feels, certainly working at the club. And I think to the fans as well, I think is that maybe that the team that Roberto built and Manuel took on is now, it's not finished, but it's time for a new era. Is that how you see it?
I am absolutely excited about Pep joining our team. I consider Pep to be one of the best, if not the best manager today in football. I think in Pep, we are going to get the epitome of passion. One thing I can guarantee you with Pep is passion and commitment. And I think he will bring a lot of that into this team. He's a winner. He's a proven winner. He has won professionally in every team he's coached. His record in Bayern Munich, his record in Barcelona, I think speaks for itself. The trophies, he's won every single club competition out there, from the Champions League to the La Liga, to the Bundesliga, to the respective cups in both leagues he's played. You know, we are getting a proven winner. We are getting a passionate man. We are getting someone that I think will be an incredible asset to Manchester City. And I have no doubt that he will transform our team to a whole new level. We will make changes. I hope, as always, for the better. We're working very closely. I can assure you we are all as committed as ever to make sure we have a team next year that Pep can take on, can develop, can nurture, and then can play in a way that shows passion, shows commitment, shows quality, continues on some of the great things we've done over the last couple of years, which is be constantly a high-scoring team with goals, with beautiful football. I think you'll see a continuation of that, an evolution of that. And I have to say, I have a lot of expectations. Maybe I shouldn't be saying that right now, but I think I owe it to the fans. Sheikh Mansour is approaching this year, as with every year, but particularly this year, with a lot of expectations. And I am working very hard to make sure that together with Pep, with our management team, Ferran, Chiki, Brian, the rest of our organization, we're going to do everything possible to make sure this team is well set for a hugely successful season next year.
And people who've met him, I haven't yet, but talk about his fantastic energy, and he energizes the people around him. He's a leader in a different way. Is that fair to say?
He is. He's unique. Really, I've spoken and dealt with many people in football over the years, managers, players, executives. I must say I've never dealt with anyone like Pep. Pep is, he's unique. His love for the game, his passion for the game. I remember spending, I think, 3 hours together at one point, just the two of us. We were looking at our team and how he wants to play and his methodology, his philosophy, his approach, without ever mentioning a single player by name. And you can imagine how hard that is to do. But he is in that way a unique character, and I think someone our fans will embrace. I think someone English football will embrace. He will be an asset, in my view, to the Premier League, and I think we're going to go and do some great things together. And
incredibly, he said that he's come here to learn. He's come to England to learn. That doesn't surprise you, I guess.
No, he's a humble man. He's a very humble man. He knows how committed we are to him. You have to bear in mind that this journey to get Pep didn't start. I mean, since 2012, was let's say the first time we tried to get Pep to join us. And obviously the relationships within the club are known, the history with Chiki, with Ferran. He's someone that knows our club well. He's been following us ever since. And I think you'll be surprised at the level of knowledge he has about Manchester, about City. He'll surprise many people with what he knows about our team's history. And he wants to learn. He's hungry to learn.
How easy was it to land him then? Was it a long conversation? I mean, we know he went to Munich, but how easy was it to persuade him to come, or did you not even have to persuade him to come this time?
Pep's the manager of Manchester City, and we have him today. We have him finally, and I think the environment that we have at Manchester City is, I believe, the ideal scenario, the ideal environment for someone like Pep to grow and evolve into even a better manager. I'm confident in that, and I'm actually, we're betting on that.
We've touched on CFG a little bit. Yeah. Let's just move on to that for a few minutes. Are there the 4 clubs are still in place? Are there any plans to add to the 4?
Today we have 4 clubs, and we are going through the development of the 4 clubs. I won't comment on Manchester City. We spoke a lot about that, but maybe just for a second talk about Melbourne, New York, and Yokohama. These are developing well. We have an ambition as a football group to have an organization that is global and that will have multiple clubs as part of it. So I would say when the opportunity arises, and we are looking at opportunities, you can expect us also to add to the number of clubs we have already within the organization.
Anywhere in particular?
I think it's too early for me to pinpoint. I think we're looking at opportunities. We'll see how it goes. At the right time, at the right place, we will tell you.
You mentioned Melbourne, New York, and Yokohama. What does success look like in those 3 places?
In footballing terms, success can only be judged by winning, and winning is how I would winning the respective leagues today. In Melbourne, whether it's in Melbourne, we've now been involved in 2 seasons. Both seasons, we finished 4th. Good progress. I think in Melbourne I think we broke the record for the A-League in terms of number of goals scored with Bruno and Aaron. But the objective is to win the league. That is our objective. That is our target, and that's what we will strive for. In New York, last year was our first season. This is our second season. We're learning about MLS. We're learning about the nature of that league, which is a unique compared to let's see what we deal with in the Premier League or in other leagues in Europe. Our objective is to win the championship there and to be champions, and that's what we will strive for, and that's the responsibility that Patrick has taken upon him. So I think, and the same thing obviously in Japan with Yokohama. In footballing terms, our objective is consistent and has to be consistent in any team we're involved in. Our objective is to win.
Can we switch to the Manchester City women's team for a while, and the Melbourne City women's team, and maybe women's football in general? Melbourne, of course, fantastic. Incredible.
Fantastic doesn't do it justice. What a season they've done. Broken every record. Started with the only challenge for them is where do you go from there after such a perfect season. So incredible achievement from there. I think in Manchester we're doing the same. Great start for the season. They're doing extremely well. The decision by us as a group to get into women's football, to invest in women's football, has really, I think, proven to be a success. It's been a great success in Melbourne, and it's growing to be a success in Manchester. And I think you'll see us doing that potentially in New York at some point, and in any club we're involved in.
And the wonderful thing was, in the middle of the season, the 2 women's teams came here to Abu Dhabi.
Yes.
And was that a big success too?
Yes, absolutely. It was a great success. I was fortunate to be in town and actually attend the game. It was wonderful.
And does it spark an interest in women's football?
It's growing. There's no doubt that's another part of the game that's growing. It's always been very popular in the United States, but now you're seeing it in the rest of the world. It's popular in the United Kingdom right now. It's actually popular here in the UAE. It's growing.
You touched on a little bit how different football is in America. No promotion and relegation there. Is that something you like? And it's common in all American sports. Would you like that got rid of in the Premier League? There's been talk about forming smaller elite leagues or European leagues and maybe one team getting promoted. And would you tamper with our system as it is? Would you prefer an American type system?
I mean, there's a lot of history with the system we have in Europe and obviously in the Premier League. And I wouldn't want to tamper with history. I think that the game, the clubs, the fans, it works. So I wouldn't want to tamper with something that works and is successful. I still am formulating, I would say, my view in terms of the MLS and particularly two areas. One being, there's no relegation, and the other being that absolute parity and how that works. I think I'm formulating my view. I wouldn't say I'm yet feel very strongly about this. I'm seeing how this season goes. We're learning as an institution, as a club, in terms of how MLS works, and we'll get it. We'll get it right. I'm confident in the team we have and the people we've had in the club, and I think we will get it right there.
There's been some investment in the group this year from CMC in China. In layman's terms, to our fans, what does that mean for Manchester City, first and foremost to City fans, but to the group as a whole?
Well, we have great partners in CMC. They come from China. China is a huge market for us, tremendous potential to tremendous value for us long-term as a club, both financially, commercially, and potentially having a club there in the future. So we have a lot of aspirations in China that benefit Manchester City and benefit City Football Group. And having a first-class partner as CMC to be partner and to be a committed partner within our organization is something that can only add value. So I think at the end of the day, we have a great partner. They've brought in and put real money into the club and into this group. They add value in terms of opening up markets and add commercial value for us. And I think, while we never had really an intention to sell, I think when we saw value, real value in terms of the long-term business of what we're trying to create, we were happy to partner with them. They are a minority shareholder. I don't anticipate us selling any further. Under 20% is something, I think, a percentage that is acceptable and it's good for a minority shareholder. And for us, we will continue committed as ever to continue to grow this business.
So no one needs to worry that you're starting to sell off CFG piece by piece, which would be in some people's minds.
I wouldn't dare suggest that to Sheikh Mansour. Sheikh Mansour is deeply committed, I think, owner and deeply passionate about this organization, this group, and of course, particularly Manchester City. This is a subject matter that I can tell you, Sheikh Mansour his commitment is untouchable.
Let's talk about the cold, hard practicalities of that marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Finance. It's been another good year for the club financially. I know you're not going to reveal any figures here, but would it be fair to say that we have made a profit again this season?
Absolutely. We have made a profit again. We are constantly moving in the right direction financially as a club. And today, one of the commitments, and that's one of the things I would say particularly proud of. Sheikh Mansour had a view from day one, had a dream from day one, that he would invest in a club, he would build value, he would put a lot of commitment to it, but that club would be financially sustainable and profitable. That dream is a reality right now. It's a reality, and it works, and we are today a top club in the world, we are financially sustainable, and we are consistently profitable.
Are the plans for infrastructure still there? Is Adel going to be part of Manchester's community for a long time? I mean, we know there's the deal with the council to build lots of homes. Is that still an exciting part of the venture?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's been, our commitment in Manchester continues to grow and to grow stronger, year by year. One thing you can be clear of from the first day we've invested in Manchester City to today. Every year we have increased the level of commitment we have into the city of Manchester, be it through expanding the capacity at the Etihad, be it through our investment in the infrastructure at the Etihad, be it through our investment at CFA, which is arguably one of the best training facilities in the world and academies in the world. Our investment in Manchester Life is extremely exciting through ADUG. This is a wonderful regeneration project that we are embarking on in East Manchester. And that, again, you're starting to see now the fruits of that commitment. All you have to do is drive down and you can see already some of the real estate coming up. And this is going to be, as you've always seen from us, high quality infrastructure, high quality assets, and a clear long-term commitment to the city.
The roots between Abu Dhabi and Manchester are intertwined and forever growing, certainly in the community, and it's a big year for City in the community.
30 years, absolutely. Very exciting. From day one, Sheikh Mansour was committed to the community, and I think the way we have supported City in the community over the years since 2008, and now it becoming a global arm to the club, a successful global arm. It's something that we're very proud of, we're very committed to, and this partnership will continue and will continue to grow.
And something that football doesn't necessarily get credit for. I mean, everyone talks about the wages and the transfer fees, but a lot of effort, time, money, care goes into the various communities.
It's critical. It's a critical part of success because the game we're in, the growth trajectory that you're trying to build, the fan base, not just domestically but globally, it really requires, from our side, a commitment to the respective communities that we're involved in. And I think we are doing that through this partnership, and we need to do more. And we are ready to do more. And Sheikh Mansour, no doubt, from day one till today, is something he follows up personally on.
And that community helped choose the new badge. How excited are you about that? How, again, it's a signal of another era, a new badge, a new manager.
Well, we always look to the future. We always look to the future, but without forgetting the past. And I believe this new badge is exactly that. It's looking at the future while taking into account completely the past and bringing that history to be part of that future. And I think that's how I would describe this new badge. I'm very excited about it. It comes in a time as we embark, as you said, into this new era with Pep. It comes in an exciting time. We have to be also quite excited. I mean, I know the fans, I have to maybe spend some time here about the fans this year. I'm sure a lot of times during this year, the fans were very frustrated, and rightfully so. Our club is a special club. I really believe that. And our fans are special fans. They've gone through a lot, and they've always stuck with this team. There needs to be a constant recognition from the players and from everybody involved in this club towards our fans. They're the ones that will carry us in the tough times.
City fans like nothing more than to see one of their own come through the ranks, make the first team. It's always extra special. Those sorts of players always get a little bit more patience from the crowd. They can make mistakes that others can't make. How will Pep bridge that gap between the academy and the first team?
Well, that's one of the reasons why Pep was so highly considered by us. That's really that ethos that we have at Manchester City, that Pep I think, actually believes to the bone. He's done that with Barcelona. He's done that with Bayern Munich. Even with the abundance of talents that he had in both respective first teams, Pep always has a knack for talent. And he loves to find young players that have incredible talent. He finds that talent, he nurtures it, and you find them evolve and really, succeed in both respective first team experiences that he's had in Barcelona and Bayern Munich. I think today, at our club, we have that. I think we have incredible talent today. This is the first time in years since we've started this this experience that truly, and at every level almost within the team, the football club, we'd have incredible talent. We really do. This is an organization that has won the under-10s national championship, under-13s, under-15s, and then the under-18s this year. We are competitive with a lot of talent across all age levels, going all the way to the EDS. And Pep, I think, will enjoy that, and I think we'll find a lot of gems that we're going to produce out of that.
Amongst the academy successes, Chairman, with the under-16s, absolutely incredible record this season.
Unbeaten. I think in any competition, to go unbeaten in any sport is a remarkable feat, but particularly in football and particularly at that age group. It's quite a remarkable feat when you look at their season as a whole, the number of goals they've scored, the talent that they've had at their disposal. It's very exciting. It's very exciting. I think credit to this whole team, to this whole group of players, as they now move into the next age group. We have a special group down there, and credit to them and congratulations.
And anytime you score 100 goals in a season is a
100 plus.
100 plus is a special season.
Incredible. So we're no longer talking in theory and in promises here. We have now facts on the ground. We have talent, real talent, and I think Pep is the perfect manager, in my opinion, to evolve that talent into the first team.
Because when Kelechi broke through well this season, scored lots of goals.
He scored 14 goals this year. He did very well.
I know you know your statistics. You love your statistics. I don't know how you keep them all in your mind, but were you disappointed that no others really? But I mean, several played games, several had little cameo roles, but no one else really made a place their own. Or
I think 8 EDS players made first team appearances this year. I think that was good. It was a strange season this year. It really was. The level of competition we were playing at, each one of these journeys, whether it is the Premier League, the Champions League, the Capital One Cup, and our FA Cup games, I don't want to, focus on that. I think what's past is past. We've had some good experiences this year with pushing some of our talent from the academy, and Kelechi is a great example of that. Really, I think credit to Kelechi in his age to rise, to score 14 goals at this level, at this age. He's got a goal per minute ratio that is quite remarkable, comparable to many important players around the world. I think next year and the years that are coming, he'll have more minutes, and I hope he will keep that goal per minute ratio at the level it's at right now.
So do we all. I mean, if he does, he's going to be hugely successful. I mean, we're going to be hugely successful. Do you see a time when half of City's team will be homegrown, or at least half? And is that an ambition or a plan?
Yes, you have to, and I think this has always been our objective and the premise behind the investment we've made in the City Football Academy and the infrastructure that we have in place today. This has been operational now for 2 years, and we're starting to see the outcomes and the results of that this season, and I hope for many seasons to come. We would like to have the maximum amount of players in the first team coming out of our academy. Now we also have to recognize the Premier League is evolving very quickly also. The level of competition, the level of quality in the Premier League is remarkable. You know, there is no easy game in this league. There just isn't. Home or away. You could play as champions of England, or of the Premier League, sorry, home or away against the bottom of the table, and I assure you, it is an extremely difficult game, both home and away. Very few leagues, I don't believe any other league in the world has that. And that's the beauty of the Premier League, and that's why it's going to be even more competitive in next year and the years to come. We have to learn from that, and we have to constantly be ready for the next challenge. I believe the next challenge for us, but to be honest for every other top team in the Premier League, it's going to be how do you deal with the additional challenge of a much more competitive league. It's a beautiful challenge. It's great for the Premier League. It's great for us as a team in the Premier League, but it's also going to make it even more difficult to win the league. I think winning the Premier League is getting more and more difficult and will get tremendously more difficult next year.
As ever, that will be players and managers, you know, will decide. We can't do anything about that now. But I mean, what the young players at City can do this summer is put themselves in the spotlight. It's one of those unusual summers where the senior players are all away.
Correct.
So Pep will be working with the youngsters for the first month or so, and that's a great chance for one of them to push their way into his plans.
Absolutely. I mean, players like Manu Garcia, Alex Garcia, Brendan Barker, Brahim Diaz. I mean, we have some very talented players. All these players will get the chance. Will get the chance. Pep, I am sure, will spend a lot of time and will have a lot of time for these players, for our younger players within the academy, and I'm sure we will see more players next season making it to the first team.
Having said that, we know we're going to be in the market, but we've landed one and another one very close. What will the policy be this summer? Will there be a huge churn of players? Will there be 5 or 6 in or 5 or 6 out, or do you not envisage it being that many?
We have to keep that balance always between what we've built and the future. We have to keep a balance between age groups, between young players, experienced players. We have to keep a balance, and obviously all this balance is really in the hands of Pep. Pep has a particular way that he wants to manage the squad, a particular way that he wants to play, and I think we'll need particular players that I think will join the team that fit and will be molded to the way he'd like this team to play. And there's some players that their time is right for them to move on. So I think that we will have some changes this summer. We will invest, as we've always done, in this club, in this team. We will provide the necessary resources for Pep to build a team that has the ambition and the capability to go and win back this Premier League for us, to go as far as we can and try to win the Champions League, and as I said earlier, to keep pushing at the cups.
And what about his other team, the backroom team that will help him do that? He's bringing some people with him from Bayern Munich, but is there some continuity there as well?
Yes. Now we have, obviously, Brian Kidd continues to be and will continue to be part of our team. Brian is an essential part of our organization, and I'm delighted that he will continue, and Pep has been explicit in his need for him to stay part of his team. Also, Javier, our goalkeeper coach, he will continue, and I think with these two we have continuity. We have two important individuals within the backroom staff at the club that will continue with our team.